Hi everybody, it's Julie with Obesity Is Not Me, and I am in my happy place, my kitchen. Yay! Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. And today I'm gonna talk about salmon. Salmon is one of my favorite things. It gives me my omega-3s that I am always touting about. So, I'm gonna give you my history with salmon, explain my love affair and such. So this is all about salmon, and all right, let's get into it. Okay, about 2010, in the year 2010, I went to Alaska. I went and stayed in a friend's, well, I rented a room in one of my friend's apartments. He was a fisherman. And he goes to me one day, he goes, we need to go get some fish. The salmon are running, do you wanna go? And I'm like, boat. I'm like, okay, because I love to boat. I'm a boater, I boated since I was 13. So I'm like, sure. He's like, you gotta go get a fishing license. I'm like, ah, crap. So anyway, it does cost a pretty penny. So I did get my fishing license. He wanted me there because obviously they have a certain quota of fish. So I didn't know what I was in for. So we got out there, gorgeous, okay? Go to Alaska, I mean, there were otters like swimming right next to me. You know, I love otters. I have a dog that's part otter. It was amazing. It was, you know, it's like the Chronicles of Narnia. You know, the animals are walking around everywhere. It's like crazy in Alaska. So anyway, so he looks at me and he goes, this is gonna be a bloodbath. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They hauled so much sockeye. I was like so blown away. From that day, that was my first trip. From that day, I have been hooked. I didn't realize what a special thing that was to get, you know, all of our quota in sockeye salmon in one day. I felt like Peter, you know, when Jesus said, put the nuts in. It was that crazy. So anyway, I've been hooked on fishing ever since. I learned how to fillet the fish. I learned how to cook it. I love salmon. And if you know me, I am a follower of Thomas DeLauer, and he is always like, get your omega-3s, get your omega-3s. He touts sardines, oysters, yuck. I had a can of oysters bouncing around my RV for 4 years because I couldn't bring myself to eating it. So, but I love salmon. So yeah, I can do omega-3s, hardcore omega-3s, as long as it's salmon. So I am gonna give you some of the tips and some of the things that I learned about salmon in Alaska from real fishermen. So, all right, and I don't have access anymore to all that good fish. I would love to. Go to Homer, Alaska. If you're really interested, I will give you some suppliers. It is very expensive to get their fish, but it is worth it if you have the money. Go ahead and put below. I'd be happy to hook you up with people that can do that. But I found some much cheaper alternatives right here in my own neighborhood, and I'm gonna share those with you. Now first I have to write this down. I'm so sorry guys, I don't have a great memory, but I do wanna go over 5 salmons that are Pacific salmons. I mostly, because I was in Alaska, I know the Pacific salmons. So there is a king salmon, which is very expensive in the stores. You're gonna see that mostly fresh. They're bigger fish. We actually, on one of my fishing excursions, caught an albino king salmon. I guess that's the holy grail in the fishing world. I did eat it. It kind of tasted like the rest of the salmon. But king salmon is awesome. But that's the salmon that you're going into Whole Foods, you're seeing it fresh, and it's like $28 a pound. I mean, that is, you know, the most expensive out there. Yeah, I mean, One of the tricks that I learned in Alaska was that the frozen is probably better, even better than the fresh, just because they have to ship it in. It is how fast you can get it chopped up, processed, frozen from sitting on the docks, how good all those nutrients are and how you retain them. That was something that I really learned, which was really interesting about salmon. And the other thing that I learned is don't discount this guy. These are canned salmons. And for travel purposes, let's see if I can get that out. This is one of my favorite from Trader Joe's. This is a Sockeye Salmon. I think it's like $4. And it's one of my favorite. It is a great fish. So we'll get into Sockeye Coho. Coho is another one of my favorite fishes. That is actually one of my favorite frozen right now that I find at Trader Joe's. This is a Coho salmon. I get it from Trader Joe's. It's got 2 really nice fillets on there. It doesn't come with the skin. I'm not a big skin eater. I wish I could eat the skin. I know, it gives me yuckies. And Ruby loves the skin. I give it to her. Yeah, so this is $9.23. Salmon isn't cheap, guys. It's not. But it's such a bang for your buck, though. And, you know, yeah, it's so good for you. I don't know what else to say. You can then go to a canned salmon. And I made a hash. I have a hash video. Okay, now this is pink. This is another type of salmon, pink salmon. The thing about pink, the Alaskans call this chicken. They do. They don't even eat this. They would be like, why are you buying pink salmon? This is cheap. This is $3.49. You can make hash. You can make salmon patties with it. If you're keto, I made a salmon patty with using pork rinds and stuff. They don't come out as, I haven't perfected that recipe yet, but if you're making them like a crab cake with some, you know, some breadcrumbs and stuff, it's awesome. Salmon patties are awesome and they're cheap. So you're going with, you know, this is bang for the buck. And the nutrients, one of the best things about the nutrients in the can is the bone and skin is in there, and it doesn't freak me out to eat that because I'm cooking it. Do not, Michelle, you know I'm talking to you. Don't eat this straight out of the can like tuna. You will never go back and buy another one because it'll be so gross. You want to cook this baby up. Don't, I mean, if you're a fishy eater, then go for it. But if you aren't a fishy eater, you want to make sure you cook this. So make a hash. I make a corned beef hash. I got a video on it. Yeah, you can do it with potatoes. I did it with rice cauliflower as well. And then make, you know, and put Frank's sauce. You know I love my Frank's sauce. Okay. I also want to show you, so we're talking about coho, so we got pink, which is a humpback salmon. There are just so much of that, they just are lying on the shores by the end of it. Like the bears can't even eat the remnants. That's why there are so many birds, because they're, you know, they're swimming upstream, and it's just it's a nightmare. Okay, so what else? Chinook, and then there's Keta salmon. Keta salmon is mostly used for smoked purposes. I love smoked salmon. That's a great, Aldi's has a great smoked salmon for super cheap. Yeah, if you like a smoked salmon, go to Aldi's because that's a great place. Okay, so I want to show you the difference of the colors of the sockeye. See, the sockeye, and that's why when we were fishing sockeye and we got all that, we were just shimming it off. We were just shimming it off and eating it right there in the boat. It was unbelievable. It was so red and so fresh. He had like soy sauce and wasabi in his pocket ready to do that. I was like, this is the best fish I ever had. So you gotta look at that color. See that great color? Ah, that's the red color of the sockeye. It's probably one of my favorites. I do love the coho, but this is probably one of my favorites. This one I got from Wild Fork, guys. Wild Fork, great deal too. I bet this whole piece is $12.07. Now the nice thing about this is it's gonna be a couple meals. So you want to eat it the next day. If you make this salmon and you have leftovers, make sure you eat it the next day. Fish doesn't store very well. Have it with your eggs for breakfast the next day. Get a nice big piece like this and you will love it, especially keto people. Please, this is the best thing. So I'll eat it, I'll have Brussels sprouts and this, that's all I need. And then the next day I'll have salmon and eggs with it. So this is a Trader Joe's Sockeye Salmon. So this is $7.03, this one is $12. Let's do a price comparison to see which one was cheaper. Price pound is $12.98 and this is $10.99. So Trader Joe's has it cheaper. This is redder and I love that red salmon, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'll let you know which one I like the best. So this is a good idea. This is actually char, but this is the difference, kind of. This is what you would get if you weren't sockeye usually. The other thing that I want to talk about is farm raised. Stay away from farm raised salmon. I think unless it's in Norway, that's Flav City. Says that the farm raised salmon in Norway is very environmental at Whole Foods. I wouldn't buy it anywhere else than there. As they say in Alaska, friends don't let friends eat farm raised fish. That's what they say, and it really kills the omega-3s, and that's the whole point of eating salmon, is to get a powerful pack of omega-3s. What the omega-3s helps me is my inflammation. I don't usually lose a lot of weight eating salmon. I pretty much maintain when I eat salmon. It really is not a weight loss strategy for me, but it helps me so much with my inflammation. Then I feel better, I can run more, that type of a thing. So that's the trick of salmon, like the next day. So this would be a great thing to do right before my fast, is to have some of this omega-3. This would be a great thing to break my fast with, so that I can just, because your body's so sensitive that it just, the nutrients just go crazy into your body. This is a great thing to break, within the 3 days of your fast, after a prolonged fast. As you know, that's where I get most of my weight loss. So I usually do the salmon trick a lot during that time. This is another thing that I do on a daily basis as well. I do fish oil. I take a fish oil. I'll let you see that. One a day. This is cheap stuff, and it is 100% wild caught. So I do recommend looking for wild caught everything. Because they end up feeding, like in those farms, they're feeding them soy and corn, and then you're getting it, and now you're getting omega-6s and not omega-3s. And then, like I said, that's the whole purpose of eating salmon. I know it's $1 less, but it's like, what's the whole point? I mean, unless you just love salmon. And that's why I don't necessarily get it out at restaurants either. I was very frustrated. I went out to a really nice restaurant last weekend, and none of the fish or the meat was organic or something. I ended up getting the vegetarian dish. I am not eating that stuff because I don't want the hormones. I don't want the antibiotics. I don't want any of that stuff in there. So yeah, just what I recommend is, and like I said, I wouldn't be recommending this if I didn't just lose a lot of weight. So that's kind of why I'm kind of beefing up these food things, because I just want to share them with you, and I have people asking me, what are you eating and stuff, and I just wanted to give you what I do, because yeah, I've lost almost 40 pounds in a 6-month period, and I'm doing these little tricks to help with my weight loss journey, to help with my inflammation, to set me up for success and not to be hungry all the time. But anyway, all right, now I'm just rambling, but I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching my salmon trick. Did I hit all the points? I think so. Anyway, have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.